So after a little bit too much time of wading my way through the muck and the mire and the misery and the angst on social media, I thought I need a break. I need to come up for air. I need to do something I actually enjoy instead of Facebook. And so I've decided today we're going to make a beer. Well, today we're going to start the process of making my latest home brew because firstly I've got to find all the gear first, set it up, clean it, and then we're going to make a beer. But I don't care about the cleaning and setting up bit because that'll still make me happy. Let's do it. Hey, it's Al here from One Man Many Plans, and earlier this year I made a video about the things that I want to achieve in 2026. One of them was fix the 3D printer, and it is working. It's printing, it's doing what it should most of the time, so that's off the list. Another big part of my to-do list from earlier was, of course, making a beer, which is why you're here. We're going to be making a Coopers Dark Ale DIY beer from an extraction tin, and I've been sitting on this for quite some time just thinking, when I get some time and space and do all the cleaning, I'll actually get this up and running because I don't have any homebrew in the fridge at the moment and it's desperately overdue. Now, the thing is, with this particular one, I thought surely there's a knockout recipe that someone's got for this particular style, the dark ale, that I can easily put together. And the more I look into it, the more people are just saying, just use the tin. You know, you can make a special blend with this. I did watch a video, and I'll tag it below because it was actually really, really entertaining. A bloke doing some home brewing, and he made what he called a smoty for the shortest month of the year. That's February, in case you're playing along at home. Well, it's February now, and that was a case of using one of these cans, and I can't remember the other one. It might have been a lager that he mixed in together with a few steeped hops in bits and pieces. He put it all together. It didn't really come out as much or as good as he planned. So I thought, no, I don't want to get overly complicated for, something that might end up decidedly average. Let's just try this as it is. So all I'm going to be doing is mixing the dark ale with the yeast in there and everything else. But like I said at the start of this, first things first, I've actually got to set things up because since my last brew, since I got this kit for Father's Day last year, yeah, it would have been, things are in boxes and bits and pieces are all over the shop, and let's not forget the need to sterilize things and make things nice and clean. So we're going to track all my gear down, we're going to make sure it's nice and clean, and then we're going to bolt this together and hopefully have, what have we got? I think it's, 23 litres of dark ale in the fridge soon enough. Now, originally, I was going to have the fermenter and everything that I need for this, the bottles, the whole entire kit and caboodle on this side of the workshop on this bench. But as you can see, the bench has been commandeered by just about everything else. Still going through all my vast tool collection and getting rid of all the double ups. My son bought a couple of batteries for a Razor scooter project. It's down there in pieces. It's obviously gone well. And there's lots of bits and pieces and junk and everything else. And then I decided, even if I do clean this up, a couple of things holding me back from this. Mainly the window there. I know I've blocked it off with a very dirty sheet, mainly for filming purposes, but it's still going to let a little bit of heat through, and I really want this brew temperature controlled as much as possible. And even though it does have the green sheet on there, there could be a bit of an issue with light too. You don't want light getting into your home brew if you can. Don't know how it affects dark ales, but really don't want to find out. So instead, today, I actually found this. Now, this was just down the road from my place. It's been sitting on the corner for a couple of days. It did come with its own bow, like as in a bow and arrow kind of bow. Lime green, can't even remember the brand. And I went, well, what am I going to do with that? And when I was wheeling this rickety thing back, another neighbour said, oh, you got a good find? And I said, yeah, don't know what I'm going to do with the bow here. And she said, oh, I picked up the other two and I gave them to my kids. I said, well, here you go. You can have the complete set. So they've got the bow because I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. And I don't trust anyone in the household with a bow. And I've ended up with this. Now, it made a hell of a lot of noise just being run up and down the street, moving it to my place, a couple of blocks. The wheels fell off a couple of times. That's fine. And originally when I saw it, I thought, oh, that's not a bad stand for my 3D printer, which is down there. The thing is, with the printer printing and it rocking back and forth, I don't think that would be a good idea. It might make some noise, and it's not the most stable of things. But then I thought about it again, and this is why I grabbed it. What if we put the fermenter there? And you can have your empty bottles here, and you can have your adjuncts here, and you can have, well, whatever you like down here, all the tools and stuff. So now this is going to be my new beer workbench. I haven't measured the space between the shelf and here. We'll check that out in a sec. But for a freebie just down the road, my little portable beer setup, I think this is going to be absolutely hilarious. So now I've got an area for it, and with the lights off, it'll be, you know, relatively dark. It's probably the coolest place in the entire house down here in the workshop, so that's going to work out as well. And if I want to go even cooler, there is, of course, right under the house, but I don't really want to venture in there because of the spiders, and certainly I won't be able to get this thing in there easily. So this is my new portable bench. Whether it stays here or not depends on size restrictions and all of that kind of stuff. But there's nothing like a very, very handy freebie just out on the street somewhere that you can pick up and use for such a purpose. Although I'm not sure what it was originally. I'm guessing a mobile tool unit, bits and pieces here, wheel it next to your project. But if you know what this is, please put me out of my misery and let me know if I'm absolutely correct or completely wrong. I don't think it's a mobile surgery bench or anything that exotic. Could just be mobile storage. But either way, it is going to be looking after my beer from now on. Happy days. And we're not even close. With the extender on there, the extra collar for any possible giant brewing head that may form. I don't know if such stuff happens on a dark ale. I'll have to investigate that. Unfortunately, it doesn't fit. Now, I might take the wheels off and see how that fits, because I really like the fact that it's at the corner of the wall, but we'll see how we go. I can, of course, take out the collar, and you usually do a few days down the track because it's no longer needed. So let's see if we can shorten this and just get this in here, because it'd be very handy to have the tap at this level. Let's see how we go. Well, that is definitely a stroke of luck. Amazingly, while two of the wheels kept coming off when I was wheeling it down here from a block away, there was one particular wheel that was almost seized up with rust. But a bit of persuasion and it's off, and now everything fits. So it's a case of digging out all the equipment, putting it in the setup, giving it a good sterilising and a clean, and then we'll get to brewing. Okay, so I reckon I found a good 70% of my kit. When moving, there was a lot of bottles that ended up in various boxes, and undoubtedly in some of the moving boxes that still haven't been touched in roughly a year or so, they'll still be there, like one or two boxes in a box of jumpers, or one or two bottles, empty ones. I would have drunk it a long time ago, next to some shirts and ties that I haven't worn forever. You know how it is with moving, you put it somewhere and you completely forget about it. Well, I will dig it out, but I've got to say the little beer bench is working overtime. Plenty of space. Lots of gear there. I haven't used these in years. I used to have hops in these in the fridge. When I get back to adding hops to stuff, I certainly will. You know, you've got your spoon, you've got your funnels, you've got your beer ready to go. And yeah, with most of it here, I will scoot around and see what else I can find, but I reckon, you know, I don't have to worry about bottling for quite some time. So I've got a bit of time to dig out the bottles. But the most important thing after you get all of your gear, and conveniently in the one place, of course, is making sure it is clean. We're going to sterilise this and this level. Not necessarily this level. Those caps are going to go. I'm going to get some fresh caps, that's fine. But all of the bottles, anything that's going to touch the beer at any stage, let's not risk any infection. Let's just do the lot. Let's give it all a clean. So it looks like I've got a bit of cleaning up to do from last night's little downpour. But on a positive note, while I was moving stuff out and I've put it outside the garage to get dry by nature's gift, sunlight, I did uncover this and I forgot that I'd put a lot of stuff away. So I am slowly finding my supplies again. Couple more PET bottles. Excellent. Bit dusty. They'll need a clean. My mother-in-law picked these up for me, and I think they were about $15. So Diane, thank you. They're absolutely awesome. Little carboys, 5 litres. When I used to do 5-litre batches, these things are absolutely brilliant. I did a sake one time in it, some rice wine, which was interesting. It came out very, very fizzy, but great experiment. Then I was really hoping to find this. I picked this up from an op shop ages ago and I still haven't used it. As you can see, I spent a vast fortune. Bent Spoke Brewing Company Growler. A couple of litres of beer in there to keep nice and cool. So maybe I'll finally get a chance to try that out somewhere. But most importantly, I'm thrilled because I found my dying supply and the label is gone. So what it should read there is Sterophos. Now, I've forgotten the actual chemical name of this. It's a pink powder, and it is for sanitizing and sterilising, I guess, but more sort of sanitizing gear. And you might recognise it as Neo Pink or another name, but basically a couple of scoops of this into a large body of water, and you just let it sit for hours and hours. And I've had absolutely great success with this. I find it absolutely brilliant in cleaning bottles. Even if you think the glass is clean and it's ready to go, put a little bit of this in and some warm water, and then come back in a couple of hours and pour it out, and just be absolutely amazed by what you find. Because originally I was going to use some bleach for this, but the problem is I have hospital grade bleach, and apparently that's too strong. And a lot of brewers are saying, yeah, if you're using a plastic fermenter, don't use bleach with this. So let's not risk that. Let's do a few flushes through and have some of this stuff sitting in it overnight, because it's been a while and it's a bit dusty, and get it clean for a brewing day. So sitting pretty at the bottom of the fermenter, we've got the pink stuff ready to go. It's a few generous heaps of Sterophos, about 4 tablespoons worth. Now we're just going to fill it up with water. Now, the only downside to my little setup here is that I don't have a tap handy, which makes this very, very laborious. And the other thing too is with Sterophos Neo Pink, it's best with warm water, so it has a chance to break down and do its thing. So I'll go and get more than just 1.25 litres and get this thing filled. So here we are. I gave up trying to fill it up with just PET bottles and dragged the whole thing upstairs close to a hose and filled it up. Now, it was a little bit less of a pain of a bum than putting bottle after bottle of water in it, but it still weighs an absolute ton. So while it's saying it's somewhere between 28 and 26 degrees currently on the gauge, I feel like I'm at 46 degrees personally lugging this thing around. But hey, it's there. It's got the Sterophos inside it, and it's also got all the things that also need to be sanitized. I keep saying sterilize. The word I'm looking for is sanitize. You want everything clean and sanitized, not necessarily sterilized. I'm not performing surgery here. We just want it sanitized. So that's what this stuff is doing. We're going to leave it overnight with everything in it. It's not going anywhere. Yep, that still works. Brilliant. We'll come back tomorrow, rinse it out a couple of times, and get this thing up and running. So welcome to the next day. The cleaning stuff in the fermenter has been working overnight to do its thing. And while that's been going on, I've been doing a bit of reading, because I thought originally there's got to be more to this particular brew than just the can itself and the yeast included. Surely, there's got to be something I'm missing here. And I went back to the Coopers website and they said, yes, what you should be brewing with is actually this. It is Coopers Brew Enhancer number 3. It maximizes head retention, mouthfeel, and malt character. So they suggest brewing with this, and I thought, well, why not? And while I was out there at Big W grabbing this is only $11, so very affordable. I also grabbed some more caps ready to go, because I'm going to need them come bottling. So onto the stand that goes. And I found this it was on sale for half price, so it was about $3 or so. Coopers bottle brush. So I'm going to hang that, well, I'm going to create something on the 3D printer to actually hang that. I can hang that on the little thermometer there for the time being. But when it comes time to cleaning the bottles and getting them all ready to go for bottling day, this will make things a little bit easier. So, like I said, time to get the stuff out of here and get some beer mix in there instead. So I've drained a few litres out just to make it easier to move to the bench press, so we can have a look at how things have gone cleaning-wise overnight. And I don't know if it's coming up well on the video, but certainly to the naked eye, you can see a lot of sort of fuzzy stuff in there. It really has picked out a lot of stuff that probably wasn't visible the first time around, and that's the beauty of this stuff. It really does get in and leach out things that probably shouldn't be going in your beer, and things you don't really want to go in your beer. So, you know, now we've cleaned the mixing spoon, we've also cleaned the thermometer and the thermometer housing as well. I'm going to get rid of the rest of this water and then flush it out a few times just to make sure that there's no residue either in the actual tank itself, or equally as important, in the tap, because that's the last thing you want, any kind of pink flavouring in your brews. Fermenter has been thoroughly rinsed out. In case you're wondering, you don't have to fill it entirely to the top time and time again, because that would be a complete waste of water. What I'd suggest and what I did was I'd washed down the walls, filled up a couple of litres well past the tap there, so that when you did drain it out, it still got everything down the bottom, then turned it upside down to get past the last remnants. A couple of washes like that, we're all good to go. Meanwhile, while that's happening, over here we've got the extract itself, the dark ale tin, and this is boiling water from the jug. Now, it sits in here for a few minutes just to loosen it up, make it a little less treacly and flow a little easier, because you want pretty much all of that can into the fermenter. So while it's going to do that and enjoying its really, really, really enjoyable hot bath, let's chuck in our brew enhancer and get started. In our enhancer goes, and just like the last time I was working on a home brew with an extract tin, it is kind of like making a cake, a very beer flavoured liquid cake, but in you go. On the packet itself, it does say it's like a substitute for sugar, and I guess the sweetness in this and whatever's left in the wort will be eaten by the yeasties and converted into alcohol. So yes, I possibly could have tried it without this, but who knows how I'd go. So I'm glad that I've got it. $11 at Big W. Just a quick note before we throw in the actual goop, the wort, in case you're wondering about the fermenter and all the bits and pieces. This is from a Coopers kit that I got for Father's Day a couple of years back, and at the time it was on a sale price of $99. Still available at Big W and Dan Murphy's for, I think it's like $120, $130 now. If you can wait until like a promo time, Father's Day, those kinds of things, grab it for $100. It's great. You get the fermenter, you get the tools, you get the bottles, you get the carbonation drops, you get a lot of kit for $99. And when you work out how much beer you're making and the cost of each project, I mean, we're talking $17 worth of extract there, $11 there, $28 to make 23 litres. That's actually a lot of beer, and it works out to be an absolute bargain. So I reckon we should be right to pop that open and pop that in there, and then add some water and get to mixing. Now, if you're new to the world of extract brewing, welcome to wort in a can, ready to go. This is the stuff that they get from boiling down the grains, and every time I see it like in this state, it just reminds me how much I actually miss doing this myself. You know, the full boil in the bag and milling the everything, and yeah, it's a long process to do a small batch brew. This makes it so much easier, but let's get that into here. Now, top tip, open it from the top. Don't try to screw it open to use the can opener on the bottom. I just did and couldn't get that off, but obviously there's enough holes to let some of this stuff in. That's okay. I'm going to use some of this water in the mix anyway to fill it up to 21 to 23 litres. So let's transfer this over carefully. The weather calls for raining dark ale. Look at that. Gooey stuff. You want as much of the tin as possible. Once it's heated up, it will ooze out, and again, it's looking like chocolate topping. I'm really, really hoping this brew is going to be as dark as this looks. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm very, very excited by this. As I said yesterday, after the misery and miserable people on Facebook, I needed a bit of a break, and doing this kind of stuff always cheers me up because it's the whole process of the thing. From, you know, when I know we've skipped a few steps by using a can of extract, but just the cleaning and the process and getting ready and making sure that you've got all the ingredients and all the equipment and everything ready to go, I think we're pretty much good there. It's joyful. It really is, because you create this, even at its most basic stage, you're still creating beer and not buying beer from the local store ready to go. So that's really, really enjoyable for me, and I can see why so many people enjoy the hobby. So that's about all I can that we can get out. Time to throw in a bit of water and get mixing. Mixing in some water. I kind of miss the old food grade buckets that I used to use, 5 litre buckets. They are readily available in places like Facebook and Gumtree, so I will get a few. They're very, very handy for carting water and mixing things, and even doing a brew like this in a bucket. You can put some Glad wrap over the top, but it just makes it so much easier than using, you know, containers like this that are only 2 litres at a time. But at least 2 litres gives us a little bit of working room, so we can start stirring up this very thick, rich, well, it looks like coffee cake at the moment. Make sure your tap's not about to let your project seep through when you least expect it. We're going to give it a big stir and break down all that stuff. I did yesterday talk about, I didn't know if there was going to be a big head on this thing. Apparently there is, so that's good. We're going to make sure the collar's nice and clean and pop that on for the Kreuzen, the head that this will brew over the next few days. And that's another exciting part about this too. Just watching it. Like, I can't say that I'm any of an expert when it comes to dark ale. I'm more of a pale ale kind of guy. I do like an IPA. Burley IPA is one of my favourite IPAs. There's just something different about it, and the unique, really strong punch you in the face flavour. Big fan of that. haven't really tried too many dark ales, and it's not really a thing in pubs unless you go to, you know, a really boutique brewery or something like that. So this is exciting to me. Like I said, I would have liked to have found a dynamite recipe, and I probably still will, and if you've got one, please feel free to share it with me in the comments below. But for the time being, just having some handcrafted, hand-brewed beers on hand in the fridge, ready to go. I'm really looking forward to that part. I started off, first extract was the lager that came with it, the base lager. It's okay. I would label that as more a lawnmower beer. You know, you work in the yard, you do the lawns, you do some gardening, you're hot, you're sweaty, you need a beer, you don't care about the flavour. Lawnmower beer. So that was okay. I'm really hoping this is so much better. Although reading the reviews, and a lot of people have done this one, they're saying, yeah, one of my favourites. So yes, even more looking forward to it. And just look at that amazing colour. So we're going through, we're just making sure that all the brew enhancer lumps, just like baking a cake, are out. You don't want lumps of flour in your cake. You don't probably want lumps of stuff in this. Although, given how long it's going to be fermenting, because the longer the better, well, not necessarily fermenting, but especially storage, they suggest that this one, you know, you can have it in a bottle for quite a few months and it'll get better as it ages. There's a fair chance that during the whole entire process, yeast eating the sugars and so forth, a lot of those lumps will get done. And anyway, when we come to bottling, those lumps won't make it through the tap to begin with, so that's not really a drama. But let's just continue mixing for a little bit and just waxing lyrical about how much I love making beer. And yeah, as I said before, if you really want to get into this, and certainly with the price of beer nowadays, you could probably see why a lot of people are doing just this. This kit is a fantastic starting point. Small Batch Brewery, a massive shout out to them too. I started with a little 5 litre carboy that I mentioned previously. Had a great time doing all grain beers in that, small batches of, and it was just a beautiful thing to go to somewhere like Hoppy Days and get my order in. I need this much of this, I need this much of this, and then they'd send me an email. You sure you need such small quantities? And I'd have to explain that yes, it was for a 5 litre batch. And, oh, no worries at all. They'd mill it, they'd send it in the post, and you know, brewing day came, and I used to do it on the barbecue. It was a lot of fun. A bit more work involved, keeping it to temp, you know, making sure it doesn't boil over, all of those kinds of things, and then, you know, making sure you didn't have a lid on it so it didn't pick up some funky flavours. Funky flavours. But anyway, all right, I think that's pretty much, well, I can see a couple of little chunks in there, but I'm not too worried about it. The vast majority of it is mixed. We'll get some more water in there. Or actually, we'll get it back on the stand first, because when it's filled with water, this thing is as heavy can be. So I'll put it up there, then I'll fill it up. Then we'll set and forget, and that's beer day. Very, very happy beer day. So I've done a couple of trips upstairs to get some water, and I've just realised at this point of the filling of the fermenter, and yeah, we're nowhere near where we should be. Big rookie mistake, not a major one, but I've got the perfect water transference vessel right here. In fact, a couple of them. Why didn't I think of using these to put the water in? Couple of 5 litres at a time. That'll make easy work of this. So I'm going to go pop upstairs, give these a quick rinse out with detergent, and carry on. Yeah, the things you remember or learn at the last minute. Yep, the next time we put one of these together, we're definitely using the carboy to fill it up with water, because at 5 litres in a go, that made a lot less trips upstairs. Okay, 23 litres mixed in, ready to go. The Kreuzen collar is on, just in case it develops a brain larger than that bit. Probably won't, but you know, just in case, there it is. All that's left to do is pitch the yeast, and there's nothing fancy about that. You just sprinkle it on like it's a bit of hundreds of thousands or icing sugar, and don't even have to mix it in. It'll drop down and do its thing and do its yeasty dance and eat all the sugars and fart out the alcohol, or however that works. Anyway, that's what the yeast is for. Very important. You can't really have a beer without it. So this is the Coopers yeast that was under the lid. Nothing too fancy. You can buy more fancy yeast from your local brewing store or on eBay. I don't think there's too many on Amazon. There's not too much home brewing gear in terms of hops and bits and pieces, but we've covered it. Time to pop the lid back on. In you go. I've got the special clips that came with this kit somewhere. There we go. Not easy to do one-handed, but we'll endeavour. And on the other side. Brilliant. Brewing is done. We're going to let that sit there for about 6 or 7 days, and then we'll do a bit of a check with the hydrometer there that I called a thermometer before. It's a hydrometer, and see how things are progressing. It's a bit of a muggy day today. Hopefully things will cool down, or maybe my sticker is permanently on that, but certainly doesn't feel like it's 29 degrees in there, so maybe that's a little bit off. But either way, it's there, it's ready to go. I've had an absolute ball and a bit of a workout getting it up and running. I also tried a little bit of the wort that was on my fingers just before, and it's very, very tasty. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how this pans out. Anyway, I've improved my mood by brewing some beer. I hope you're having a great day, whatever you're up to. If you enjoyed this journey, make sure you like and subscribe. I don't know if I'll do a tasting on this thing that can do it justice, but I'm certainly going to enjoy it when it comes out. And if you're new to the home brewing thing, and or you bought yourself one of these kits, drop me a comment, let me know how it goes. If you've brewed up one of these before, let me know what I'm in for, because as I said before, I'm not really an expert at all when it comes to beers, especially dark ales. I'm more of a lighter guy, but I'm really looking forward to this. And just by the taste of the wort alone, yeah, I think this will be a marked improvement over the base lager. Wish me luck. In the words of Snake Fab, one of my favourite things to look at on Facebook when I'm not surrounded by miserable people. Done!